Good night, good morning, good afternoon, depending on when or where you're watching this broadcast. Welcome to Disclosure Tonight from 1947. Yes. For some fun, why not take out the color and let's focus on the color around us and everything and less on it. It is Friday after all, and it's been one of those days when you have all these kind of things going on Friday, you have to figure, oh man, what the hell happened? It's Monday again, but it's Friday. But sometimes you have to enjoy and say, you know what, take all that stuff, all that noise, all that stuff that we look at that's not UFOs and push it aside because we don't live to work. We work to live. And that's why we're here on Disclosure tonight to talk about UFOs, the phenomena, and a crazy article I found today when I was done with work and I was looking and saying, what the hell can we talk about tonight? Is there a show? And surfing the net, I found an article from Northop Grumman, you know, the military contractor, the one who makes, I believe, didn't they make the stealth fighter a long time ago? A bunch of other stuff. Well, they have an article that kind of gets into it. Exploring the UAP report, is alien invasion imminent? And I looked at that article and I have to say, okay, who's working for Northop Grumman, a military contractor? Is it Gary? Is it Elizondo? Or is it Ryan Graves? Or is it me wearing a big pink fluffy animal? Or is it Cheryl Costa? Well, the woman who knows, the man who the woman who knows UFOs more better than anybody in this country. We need to bring Cheryl back again. I think she's about done with her move by now to Ohio. Yeah, great person, I tell ya. Yes, Banana Booey, I've had enough of the bug fixes and fixing stuff and getting everyone else's life up going. So without any further ado, let's jump across in the main studio. And, well, yeah, is alien invasion imminent? Coming from military contractor, although they say no, you gotta look at that saying, who in the hell's working for them? What kind of stuff are they trying to stoke? What do they know behind the scenes? And that's why we're gonna go ahead and take a look and bring our panel in of Rob, Greg, and Tim, and of course our producer, Ack, also known as Gary in the back, to talk about this whole thing. But before we get to there, let's go ahead and see who's out there from the audience, shall we? Oh no, I'm on top chat. That's okay. Yes, that's right, Brandy Phillips. Oh, I didn't even set up the chat. What am I doing? Apparently not my job. But my glasses are not here, but I can see blurry enough and I can bring it back in. Ah, here we go. Brandy Phillips, no cameras or automated machine guns. I'm shocked. I hear ya. Susan Goss goes time-traveling Asians. Perfect. You got it. Happy Friday. Hello everyone. Susan. Welcome, Susan. Hello, we want to say, give a warm welcome and hello to Susan Go in the Department of Defense. Yeah, girl, you got yourself a promotion. But why in the heck, if you're the spokesperson for the KGB, I mean, for the Pentagon, why are you out there and letting John Kirby continuing to take the press, man? We want to see you in your beautiful red hair with your streaks of gray in there, just like Cruella DeVille, coming out there and giving us a good brief on the stuff you don't want to talk about. That's right, you're leaving John to talk about it because you don't want to say anything, do you, Susan? Well, we need to change that. We need to get you to open up a little bit. But then again, that's what he said. Hello, Susan. Welcome, Mr. Gray Owl. None of that patch back into owl infrastructure live. I'm just kidding about the worry though. The nest is a goddamn Fort Knox these days. Well, yes, I bet you and Rob have talked a lot about how you fortified your nest and protecting those massive eggs that you've got. So, and with guns to go along with it. So, because you can have guns in the United States and Canada, just not for you, Gary, in the United Kingdom. You're not allowed.
They can't in Canada.
Yes, Brandy Phillips, Ack is in attendance along with your green frog, and I did miss your hello, beautiful people. Give us another one, please. We need those green hearts, and we need those green hearts and frogs again to remind Gary and how beautiful green is. Blech. Yeah, Who's Duncan is here, as well as Ravenous Ryan. Not Raven is Ryan. But Raven is Ryan kind of works for me because I did do a game based on That's So Raven. Yeah, and I was actually the bastard who came up with the idea for the first video game based on sewing. you gotta go with the license, you know. Banana Bowie is here. Welcome, Banana. You still getting that one lady you mentioned last time you were on here? No, that's up for Who's Duncan. That's me, because that's definitely not me. Oh, Jimmy Torres, let's go. We are going. Much too talking, but that's okay. Gotta have some fun. A.O. Xander is here saying it's Fessler O'Clock. Remember.
Fessler O'Cock. That's your Irish name.
Yes, it would be Gary, apparently. But you can't see it, but it's another beautiful tequila sunset. Just without the color. Yes. Vin One, welcome. That is one heck of a good yes, it happens. You go to say something and something else just kind of spurts out, literally. Elizabeth Walker, better known as Elizabeth Warren Walker Warren. LOL, that's normal Brandy. I think we'd be shocked if we started on time. Well, I know. I had to go and make one of these before the show started because I can't get up when the show's going. Girl. Be careful, I'll put you on camera, Gary. City where you belong. Kelly Lewis, welcome, Kelly and Ingrid Cold. Thanks for coming on out. Or Ingrid Cold. Where's he be at? We bees here. Yes, we bees here. ZNN, Zeta News Network. You're not the guy from Louisiana, but welcome. We're here. We're going. Happy Friday, everybody. Linda Thompson is here, the lady of ufology, who's going to be one of a panel of a lot of people over at Witness Citizen. He's trying. He's working it. Got to give him some props on that. Jacob Freeze, what's up? Coming back at you. Absolutely. It's Friday is what's up. Rob Heatherly, A.O. Xander, enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for the invite. And you got the bug out pretty quick. Sounds like a good thing sometimes. Got to do it strategically. Or as Bush would say, with strategery. Welcome, Rob. He is in the chat. He is in the back. Got to bring up Bush last night. Everybody loves the mission accomplished.
Everybody loves Bush.
Well, George Bush, especially when he did his mission accomplished. Nice, Julie Farrell is here. Well, can't have a show without giggles. Giggles, get in here. We got to talk. We got to bring you on here again. You haven't been around enough. Is the husband going to let you do that? I hope so. Kelly Lewis, welcome. Kelly Lewis, thanks for coming around. Appreciate you being here as well. Lit Arlene Atkinzel with a beautiful, happy sun. That is just so nice and colorful today with my lack of color. It just emphasizes it even more. Plus, it's kind of like I'm in that white light, you know. Thus by the light of the UAP. Sometimes you got to have fun with it. Not today, Satan. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Angel Wings is here. Welcome, Angel Wings. And I think Enzo is here. But I think we said hi earlier. I think that's everybody.
We have a new person called Ghost.
We do? Oh, Ghost. Love your show. What's up? Make me a moderator, bro. Well, tell yourself after a while, Ghost. We'll see who you are. Go from there. I was actually given warning by someone else who made it of a bunch of additional people as moderators, and it backfired on them. Imagine that when you say a lot of nasty things about your viewers. So, yeah. I usually make people moderators after they've proven themselves that they can handle the power of the wrench. I'm sure Julie and Duncan and Kelly and Linda, they can handle it. They get it. You'll get it. Yes, Bill H., the aliens invade America. Mission accomplished. When everyone has a gun, but if you go to fire the gun, they're not going to do anything. So I think we're equipped with the stuff up here to protect us more than anything. Jules can catch on that one. We have Davey Crotch Kick.
Steel plate in my head.
Yes, I've seen this dude on Spaced Out Radio. He's pretty good. Yeah, well, I'm actually going to be, believe it or not, in cahoots with Dave again tonight, and I'll be doing the UFO report because our regular guy over on Spaced Out Radio is not going to be there tonight. So you got to ask. You got to help out where it's possible. Oh, by the way, Gary. On that note,
I have 2 words for you. The second is off.
Oh, nice. Time off. Absolutely. Angel Wings is here. Love and light. I'm an alien too. I'm glad you're part of the love and light because they're not all love and light. Yes, it's John Hudson's birthday. Let him celebrate. He needs a day off sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. But truthfully, my time off here is actually with you guys. So I live for this. And actually, when I'm feeling like shit and everything's gone through it, I get on camera, start talking about stuff, and it all just freaking fades away. And I want to thank even every single one of you out there for helping me get there. But besides everybody on that I've been bringing out, besides Bob, he's been playing it smart lately. Gotta give the guy a freaking... He's got a mind in there. We don't have much time from imagination and talking. That's right. So without any further ado, let's bring out the Brady crew, shall we? Yes, we've got Greg, Rob, and Tim, or Rob, Greg, and Tim, or Tim, Rob, and Greg, or Tim, Greg, and Rob, or Greg, Rob, and Tim, or Greg, Tim, and Rob.
Got it. Happy Friday, brother.
Happy Friday. Happy melon blurry camera Friday. Yes, I am looking for a new conferencing platform that gives me real-time conferencing with high definition. Hey, I need to get on those glasses, blue blockers and high definition.
How great.
Absolutely.
We'll all wear them.
Yeah. Don't worry, Rob. I was going to take you and make you over here and fix that up. Don't worry about it. But yes, how's it going, guys? Did you have a good day off?
I have a great... Every day is a good day off, brother.
Yeah. You holding up today, Rob?
Every day is a day off for me, but I've been working today. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing all right. It's been beautiful weather outside, so
Yeah, it's been... I guess it was kind of not so cloudy today. It was cloudy earlier in the day. This morning it was dreary and raining a bit. People said, oh, yeah, look how nice it is outside. I'm like, ah. Yeah, it matches my color.
From yesterday and today.
Tim, how are you? The fam, everything holding up?
Yeah, it's hectic. It's a whirlwind. It's like, I'm trying to tie a rope as it's unraveling in front of me, but it's fun. And life is a journey, buddy. And so I'm just riding it.
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tonight's topic is kind of interesting. It's we're bringing in an article from at least an article that's sponsored from a Northop Grumman writer, probably an employee, who's on the Northop Grumman website, granted within their own area. But it's kind of, if I pop over to the screen here, coming from Northop Grumman Now, powered by Northop Grumman. This is coming from www.now.northropgrumman.com. So it's coming from their website. And the title of the article is right behind me. Exploring the UAP's report. Is alien invasion imminent?
Can I ask a question real quick before we start? Does everybody have a Northrop Grumman in their state on the panel? I do. I probably have like 4 or 5 of them.
Now,
on the basis and everything.
I guess we could go ahead and do a quick search, and we don't have to look at their financials and how much money they're getting from the federal government.
We have like them, Raytheon, and I think there's like
Raytheon's a big player too.
Martin Marietta.
What is Northrop Grumman responsible for? Well, taking a look at some cool pictures we got up here. Looks like they make some planes. They make some drones. Aliens. Oh, it's those Navy craft that my brother-in-law, who got buzzed by UFOs on the Tic Tac thing, my ex-brother-in-law. What are these, the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, those are the ones that were flying with Fravor that day.
Yeah. Actually, my ex-brother-in-law was a aviation technician and eventually became a chief. And he was flying around in one of those planes when they got buzzed. He called it by a cigar. This is going back in 2004, the year before. This wanted to take place with the Tic Tacs. That was 2005, wasn't it? 2004. So it was the January 2005, right after the stuff happened, and I got the whole word about how they had taken off and how they were flying around, and all of a sudden on the... Let me bring this down a little bit. On this side of the plane, right over here, the left side of the plane, all of a sudden, one just appeared that was directly on this side of the plane. The plane started doing its thing, electronics started freaking out, and it was there for a period of time. And they were like, they had one before, and it was like, hey, we've got one. I'm not sure if they port side, whatever it was, equivalent to the left side, and they saw it. And then all of a sudden, the thing just literally popped from being on one side of the plane to being on the opposite side of the plane. And I heard about this incident going back in, January 2005. I ain't pulling pranks on this. This is...
Could you imagine the data that thing has, the AWAC?
Yeah. I mean, literally from where he was telling me, we're sitting out in the garage smoking some stuff and talking about the whole situation. And I'm sitting about 15, 20 feet from where the whole conversation took place. And he walked me through the whole thing, what had happened when, well, it was end of 2004. It was part of his deployment that he was on. Out of San Diego, hint, hint. Gee, I wonder what was going on. And we're still dealing with so many years later. And even though he's being contacted by Dave Beatty, who's part of the Nimitz incident documentarian group, he still won't answer him because he's afraid of the overall penalties of what he had assigned in documentation, where he would lose his retirement and everything if he ever spoke about the situation. So, well, I guess I'm kind of talking about it for him, not mentioning names, but just seeing one of the planes, it gives us, something to talk about. Besides that, they've got drones. Didn't they do something with regard to the stealth? There we go. Didn't they do this one?
I don't know. I thought it was. Oh, you mean the F-18? What is it? The F-18? We're looking. I can barely see F-18.
FA-111, whatever it was.
I'm not sure.
I know they did something with the stealth because I almost went to work for them back a long time ago.
There was a story about a UAP that was witnessed while they were.
Oh, they did the B-2.
While they were just loading the tank buster drones on Navy vessels. They were only loading the new drones. They're called tank busters, I guess. And
scanning the new tech.
They were loading new tech, and UAP was witnessed.
Yeah, that's
by
not that. I've heard
multiple
a lot of
people.
incidences of that when they're rolling out new hardware that they're being surveilled. But there was also a report of a flying propane tank that almost clipped a Air Force fighter jet in Vietnam.
Yeah,
that went right over the top of its wing.
So yeah, they actually they did the B-2 fighter, the B-2 bomber, and I actually have one of the models. They call them maquettes, like from the Disney era, that they actually have when you would actually be going, and if you were a part of the team, got that at Value Village for $5. It was a steal. Exactly what you're saying.
Now you can have two.
What?
Now you can have two with the other $5.
Oh, I know. Uh-oh, Jesus Christ. Found it in the back behind the couch, Ack and stuff. Rob rules. Wow. I didn't know where his allegiance lies. Thanks, Ack. You finally found enough change in the back of your chair? You shouldn't be doing that. We should be giving you the money, for God's sakes, for what you're doing here. Holy cow. Thank you very much, Gary. Gary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow?
Very well. Thank you.
Yes. Need to thank you, Gary. But that is, well, unexpected, but greatly appreciated. I'll tell you that. Thanks, Gary.
That's like $100 American, right?
That's like it's like United States buying Canadian. So that's actually five pounds is probably like $7.
Yeah.
Hey Google, how many dollars is 5 pounds?
5 pounds equals $6.62.
There we go.
Oh, I wish it was 666.
Oh.
Yeah, you just have to find the right dollar amount. It's kind of like when Dave had his anniversary. I actually went and donated $5.46 American because that's $7, and it was a 7-year anniversary Canadian. Well, $7 Canadian.
Thirsty.
Yeah. So, back to the story. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate the distraction on this one. But yeah, Northop Grumman, they do the B-2. I've got my own B-2 here. And they've been involved in the military a bunch. But the question is, they've got the the Hawkeye and everything else. So that's who Northrop Grumman is. So hopefully everyone in the audience gives an idea of who this military contractor is. So Ryan Graves, who worked for one military contractor, was going to work for another one. This is back when we had that AIAA conversation. He couldn't come on for an interview because he was changing jobs. It's either Ryan Graves or I'd say Lou Elizondo, who also said he works for a military contractor in defense. It's one of those two guys. It's probably here. What do you think, panel?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a great theory that I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, come on. There's nothing like beating a hornet's nest. Actually, you have to go for a walk with the people you quite don't like.
Lou said whatever he was doing was still on the agenda of advancing disclosure and working for the American people.
Yeah.
To better them. So whatever he's doing with his government contractor job, I'm pretty confident that it's not disingenuous to just feed the war machine.
Oh, no. Don't need to do that. But, well, if you are working for the war machine, inadvertently, no matter what you're going to be doing, you'll be beating the drums one way or the other.
I have a question. Rob,
yes?
War, what is it good for?
War?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Only in self-defense. I mean, flat out.
Yeah.
We got to ask the question, though, Gary. Can we handle the truth on this?
You can't handle the truth.
That's right. I think we can, though. Although they're going to say we don't want to. And plus, you got to remember, Dave pointed out the industrial complex, aka the industrial companies who are behind the military, which, well, that's Northrop Grumman. So it all kind of ties back together to conversations we've been having this week.
AKA, that would be the language of an Italian Martian, wouldn't it? Aka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
Talking about Italians and what they could potentially be, I've got a list for the next disclosure tonight. I mean, not disclosure tonight, the next late night update. The 10 top businesses that the mob potentially runs.
And I put a news story in there as well that's a bit rude.
Oh, nice. I've seen your stories, Gary. I've seen the kind of things you want us to carry. We got to be careful. This is YouTube.
Yeah, and coming from New York, I'd be the last person that would get near that topic.
Yeah.
I'm not outing anyone.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, it looks like Bob's news tonight. Bob Birkins, when you're coherent, it makes me so happy. Brandy, smiley face. Oh, but look at that. Wait a second. Susan goes time-traveling Asians. Which contractor will develop anti-UAP weapons first? That's a really great question for the panel. Greg, what do you think? Which contract do you think will develop these first?
I don't think it's a contractor at all. I just think it's part of the, a deeper underlying state.
I also think it's not a matter of will. I think it's already has developed. I mean, according to Lou, wasn't one accidentally taken out during a test?
Well, that is true. He did talk about us blowing off a nuclear device up in the upper atmosphere, and that device actually going ahead and having an EMP wave that kind of took it and just, yeah, he did talk about that.
It's a matter of who's going to develop the most efficient and quickly manufactured weapons. But it's an ongoing thing, just like disclosure. It's never going to be an arrival. It'll be a constant evolution of more and better and more efficient and more cost efficient, which in the current global climate, we have to be on our game. But I think we should be more focused on conventional threats, because obviously this one we can't do anything about, even if we needed to. So,
but don't you feel
really,
like
it's like locking the front door when they're coming at it with a tank? What's the use,
Don't you feel like MSG already talks like it has potentially got a plan for an anti-UAP situation, a weapon perhaps?
You'd have to.
I'm just saying
any potential threat, no matter how small, the government has to have some kind of an idea of how they would at least start to approach defending against it, because that's their job. So yeah, by virtue of what they are, yeah, most definitely they're looking at a battle plan. Potential scenarios.
Well, if I had to answer this question, which I will, we can look at all of the people who are on this list, and we can say Boeing, well, no, they can't figure things out. General Dynamics, probably not. Analytics Services, Huntington, well, we don't know about Huntington. They're kind of quiet. There's a big question mark there. Humana, forget that. BAE,
we got Huntington here.
They're basically, BAE is more ground support kind of vehicles, transport vehicles where the floors can get blown up and, well, they didn't figure that out right. L3 Harris, don't know about them either. So if you looked at everything, what sticks out? Huntington, maybe L3 Harris. We could look at General Dynamics, Raytheon, Lockheed.
Boeing.
No, forget Boeing. They can't figure stuff out. Now, I believe it was just Raytheon who actually just did deploy some high-end laser equipment for going ahead and actually having stuff that was like lasers that was going ahead, orienting itself and blowing stuff up in the sky. So I'd probably go with Raytheon or two of the unknowns, just because the unknowns are too unknown.
Raytheon also built our most powerful radar systems that we have deployed right now on the coast for NORAD.
Yeah. And Lockheed does a lot of war planes and everything. So if we were going out something to try and take it out, probably Raytheon.
Yeah.
Maybe definitely not Boeing.
One thing that keeps crossing my mind with those radar systems is they are the largest artificial electromagnetic machines on the planet. Nothing else puts out as much electromagnetism as those radars do.
Yeah.
What do you think? Lockheed's a close second, probably. Lockheed Martin.
That?
You think Lockheed Martin is a close second? You think on that list?
Yeah, they're all in the game, and there's only so much capacity each one has to manufacture and develop for R&D.
So Lockheed Martin do the F-30. Forget Lockheed. They did the F-35.
No, so you don't think Lockheed's in the race?
They're doing more jet fighters and planes and everything else, maybe helicopters, which is going to absolutely do nothing compared to an F-35. Well, General Dynamics is more missiles. There we go. Guns, troop carriers, torpedoes. What was it? The F-16, variations of the F-16 platform. Nah, I don't think they got it. I think are actually.
I was actually going to get a job in their cafeteria, and you needed a security clearance just to freaking work in the building itself.
Maybe General Dynamics, but the other two we don't know anything about. Who in the hell is Huntington Ingalls Industries?
General Dynamics has been.
They're doing boats.
High strangeness.
Nope, not going to be them. And who's L3 Harris? That's the last one. Could be Navy shit too. Oh, no. Hold on. L3 Harris.
It looked like all Navy related, right?
That's Huntington again.
I think that it crosses all the platforms of the military that
they're doing drones.
Yeah, like drones, and it just seems all Navy related.
No, this is some of the stuff I'm seeing here to IR sighting systems.
Infrared, yeah.
Infrared, that's UAP, but that's just sighting
devices were those mystery half-round the smoke
that they put on the aircraft carriers that were recently deployed. Yeah.
We don't know what those are.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly confident they're one of those at least in part, to scramble drone swarms, things of that nature.
I believe it. So coming out of that, probably Raytheon, probably at the top of the list. So I'm going to go with Raytheon. Final answer. Could be someone we don't know. Yeah, got to have fun with it. I appreciate the question.
Think about how many there are.
Yes, I know. But it's a good question nonetheless. Back to our discussion about, if I can find that article now. I know it's here somewhere. Where did it go? Here we go. Northop Grumman. Nope, that isn't it.
It makes it easier to compartmentalize too, doesn't it? Having all these choices.
As far as just partner, getting parts, or say, just you need maybe parts something out here, just so nobody really ever gets a real big picture. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they would, because you don't want you don't want the technology to get out to anybody that doesn't have authorization, and with all these hacks and everything anymore, that you can't. There's so many competing seditious organizations and countries out there. They have to compartmentalize.
Yeah,
that's one of the first protocols established, is to lock things down and don't let it.
Yeah.
Thomas, if I don't do it, he's not going to stop asking. So this is for Mr. Grial. If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd say back those words that hurt you, and you'd stay.
All right. As the audience dies. But Mr. Grial said, God, that was beautiful. Brandy Phillips says, yes. LMAO coming from Elizabeth Walker Warren, coming back from everybody. Even Bob Berkins
is saying, the trick to doing
yes.
a share is to do Elvis, but go an octave higher.
Yes. Yes. So to start off the article, the whole thing getting into it, is there going to be an alien invasion? They say, in a word, no. But let's get that way out. Get that out of the way out front. Aliens are not coming to conquer Earth or capture the population, despite what some alien enthusiasts may claim. Still, the recent UAP report raises some interesting questions about our place in the universe, and possibly that we're not alone. So here we've got here we've got Northrop going and taking that dialogue and trying to echo it, going into the professional defense industry, which is the first. Human history is replete with alien interest. As noted by Scientific American, one of the first mentions of extraterrestrial life came from a novel written in 200 AD, maybe sooner, by Lucian of Somoza, called Vera Historia. In it, he describes a journey to the moon that includes strange creatures such as three-headed vultures, birds made of grass, and humans who sweat milk instead of water. Comedy is also a popular alien interpretation with works like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which we all know, imagining what would happen if our planet was destroyed. Because the answer, of course, to everything is 42. Not out of malice, but by aliens building what? But an interstellar
aliens
bypass. But here's the thing. They have recently discovered that we do live in giant magnetic tubes, which could potentially be an interstellar bypass. Who would have known? Now,
and if you want to look at fractals of the way things are scale and variant, there's those miniature tubes in our brain that they think is an interface between the consciousness and the brain. So the esoteric with the physical interface that binds the two.
Sorry, you're frozen on camera, or you've got your hands.
Oh, is he frozen?
Oh, I thought he was sitting like that.
Me too.
For like...
I know what we're doing.
I thought he was just really concentrating hard.
Yep.
I thought he was trying to send us a message telepathically.
No, when I saw him frozen, he was. Oh, he'll be right back. Hopefully. Yes, that's my extra camera pointing towards the light. Hello,
Rob
beautiful
had
people.
rejoined.
I honestly did think he was just like he had a headache or something.
You're still
Still
frozen,
there?
Rob.
Let me fix
It's
this.
not your connection. It's your camera connection. This is what you get if you use Android. These
This is
are
what
the
happens when you
headaches.
use your brain too much.
Well, yeah, my camera's Android.
Can I ask a question about the article that you
Yeah.
have up? So this article was presented by a representative from this this company. Is that correct?
This is coming now, powered by Northrop Grumman, which is the intersection of technology, innovation, and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
it's
think it's
available
interesting.
at
Yeah.
now.northropgrumman.com.
Right, and it's pretty interesting that they're asking such a big question, you know,
I
as
know.
a headline.
Who would have
Um,
thought? I mean,
well,
they're covering
yeah.
the history of it. They're talking about, in Politico, the fascination of the realm of reality in '95 that the real estate magnate, even talking about Robert Bigelow and his National Institute for Discovery Science that everyone hears about NIDS all the time. So they're diving into some of the history, talking about when Bigelow first met in his meetings in Las Vegas with scientists and engineers, a CIA spy and former Army Colonel, John Alexander, and 2 Apollo astronauts. Their common characteristic, they all felt the government officials weren't giving enough consideration to potential alien efforts on Earth. Just that statement in its alone, they felt the government officials weren't giving enough consideration to potential alien efforts on Earth.
It's
Wow.
huge. Yeah, that is a huge statement.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it makes me sit down and pay attention to the source. That's for sure.
I know.
Yeah.
Greg, I got to skip you 2 around. There we go.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, now the names are fine. We're all there, one way or the other. But yeah, so this is coming from Northrop Grumman. Again, we're bringing this forward from an important source that who would think they're got pictures of UFOs and actually bringing it forward on their website.
And taking it into serious consideration,
Yeah.
even though they answer their answer with a no, I think that they then follow it up with a bunch of things that say maybe.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like it's kind of like slightly perhaps even guiding
Yeah.
the reader towards having the feeling that maybe we do need to consider a defense.
Yeah. I mean, their next piece is they get into about the UAP's report. Oh, it's actually just UAP. You don't even have UAP, yes.
Right.
An overview for policymakers of the challenges associated with characterizing the potential threat posed by UAP, while also providing a means to develop relevant process, policies, technologies, that's where they drop in, and training for U.S. military and other U.S. government personnel if and when they encounter UAP, so to enhance the intelligence community's ability to understand the threat. So they take what the UAP report was and they boil the whole thing down to a really concise, description about what it provided. Again, very serious.
Yeah, it sounds like a company preparing to throw out a contract.
Good point, Tim. They could be. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that would be great. I mean, to think that a company like this would go into serious manufacturing for, let's say, a drone that's made by us that goes out and searches out UAP.
No. It almost makes you wonder if there's someone from the inside who could potentially be working there.
Oh, yeah.
Changing the feel of the upper executives, or someone going ahead and actually, peering in saying, hey guys, you really need to jump into here. You need to check it out. It's something. There's money there that you don't realize.
Yeah, I think they've already developed, what they need to develop and I just think they're just saying this because they already have something in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that made me think too.
It all comes down to the money. It all comes down to the dollars. And if they can find a way to go ahead and grab it and bring it in.
Trying to raise awareness to where they can the conversation. So like the government wasn't already thinking about that and like, oh, here's this article. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe we should tool for that. And oh, by the way, we can hire this country to build it. This company. Brilliant idea of the author.
Now, next part, they actually appeal to the left a little bit. Not everything has an easy answer, where they reference a recent CNN piece that examined the reporting on the UAP data, breaking it down into 5 broad categories: airborne clutter, national atmospheric phenomena, U.S. developmental programs, foreign systems, and other. And it's the other that's interesting, as it's effectively acknowledged as there are unexplainable, observations. While it may eventually be determined that these cases are tied to more familiar operations, well, we've heard enough from Lou Elizondo, haven't we, on this, Rob?
The 5 observables?
Yeah. Talking about the 5 observables?
Well, it's it's not the 5 observables, but you've had Lou talking about what this other is and what it really is based on a lot of, tap dancing around the overall subject of stuff.
Yeah, you can't come out and just say the obvious, but I mean, he's eliminating what it's not, which is, it's not human. So it's a short straw list from there of what it could be. So, everyone keeps dancing around the 800-pound gorilla, the government and all the military, our government anyway. There are other governments that have already acknowledged that it's not human, and acknowledged that, definitely that would only leave one other possibility, which is, higher, intelligent life out there, or intelligent AI that we're intermingling. But they have seen other life piloting these crafts, so we can't just think that they're AI unless they're synthetic themselves. Who knows?
Yep. And you know what? An interesting piece of information I ran across was just the fact that a lot of the UAP reports that we've kept confidential and not given to the general public, the reasons is because perhaps the data that was recovered was over Russia and gathered by our spy satellites, and there are existing UAP cases you can search on Wikipedia that are from Russia that we don't discuss but have great facts.
Oh, frickin' search the CIA reading room. They have declassified reports of Russians firing on a UAP and then getting their people and vehicles turned to stone and paying the price.
Right. And there were battalions of these UAP, orange orbs were the descriptions, coming up over the Arctic and over Russia.
Well, there were also orbs supposedly in Italy that fired on their helicopters. And when they figured out when they were actually going ahead and firing on their helicopters, they figured they could actually hit them, because when they're actually doing something offensive towards another craft, their actual shield or different stuff they have around them is down, and they can actually hit them with depleted uranium missiles.
Right. And as far back as the 90s, is when they started really being able to retrieve this good data. And I'm sure that this is part of what was kept from the public, as far as good reports, but we can't reveal it because of how it was sourced.
And plus, the Italians like to tell. Go ahead, Rob.
When the Berlin Wall fell, for the first 5 years, Russia, USSR then, before they changed it, they were very forthcoming with all their UFO data that they had collected over the years. That we had a really decent exchange going on with them.
I met with Michael Hesseman back, and it was probably 2005, 2006, I think. I was over in Germany, and I was introduced to him by Colonel John Alexander. And Michael actually, as soon as the wall fell, and actually Russia fell at that time, he rushed as quickly as he could to get into Russia to talk to the airplane pilots about their sightings and what they had dealt with, and their experiences with the phenomena, to get testimonials and everything else. Because they could. Go ahead, Greg.
You don't think Chernobyl brought Russia down?
Chernobyl was a bump on their was a pimple on their ass. That was about it.
It's Russia now. USSR fell.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. We
Back
all know
in
what
the
you're saying,
USSR.
I'm just looking at this because it's been on my mind about the way Russia is stacking all their over 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border now, and China has been increasing incursions over Taiwan. It just looks to me like it's not a matter of if now; it's a matter of when and how bad that they advance.
Now, I do remember I did meet with Michael in Dusseldorf, Germany. And I got introduced to a good beer from there. It was called Dussel Alt. And it was an alt beer, which is a stronger beer, but it was more clear. It wasn't as dark, but it had these short little bottles. It was freaking awesome. The only place you could get it, it was brewed locally within Dusseldorf. So good days, definitely. Sorry, I had to bring that up. Alcohol and UFOs goes together sometimes.
Indeed.
Yeah. So dealing with CNN and trying to bring it out so everyone can go ahead and tie into it. The next part they get into is talking about the current reports and flat out saying they're credible. The report notes that many incidents observed were firsthand by military aviators and were collected from systems we consider to be reliable. In other words, these aren't simple eye-on observations made by individual citizens. They're sightings reported by trained military staff and backed by trusted technologies. While this doesn't necessarily imply that aliens are causing these phenomena, it does suggest the need for further investigation. So unlike some pathological skeptics that are out there, this sounds like something that, Rob, you've said many times about the people who observed it and the technology it was observed on. They're dialing into your dialogue.
In which aspect? Your observation? Are you talking about with the newest equipment where they're trying to figure out their...
No, it's because you're watching the chat too much. No, they're talking about specifically that the people who are observing the phenomena, like Alex Dietrich or Kevin Day on the gear, or Ryan Graves in the fighter jet as well. And they're seeing these things that are flying around doing these things. And we have it in on our sensors. They're coming from a military contractor, right? For defense. They're going and actually saying that these are coming from people with a high level of credibility with the sensors they had and for what they've done. So rather than taking what they've done and try and tear them down Mick West style, they're actually trying to say that, again, current reports are credible. That's the freaking piece that they're talking about.
Yeah, this company is standing behind the technology that they already believe in and the people that they have trained to operate it. I mean, it's basically, the boss coming out and saying, yeah, you know what, if my employees say that that's what they recorded with that device, then that's what they recorded with that device. And no matter how much you kick and scream and you don't like the information that it produces, you still have to consider it as real data, and you got to review it.
They've got too many different identifiers, like with especially that's why they keep going back to the Nimitz encounter, that they cannot deny that those were real objects in the sky. They weren't 3D holograms. They weren't paper bags. There wasn't a drug smuggling plane off 100 miles.
Because these are the companies who made the sensors,
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely despicable to disregard the witnesses that were involved in all of these cases.
Yeah.
Because, that it has changed history. These people have had the bravery to step forward and talk about something that is incredibly hard to talk about.
Is Raytheon part of the industrial complex, do you think, or does it go deeper than that?
Oh, they're all, that top 10 list of people that I brought up a little bit ago of contractors. Yeah, that's the industrial complex.
If we can't take the word of people that we spent millions of dollars training to fly the equipment,
right,
and to be able to, I mean, they can recognize the silhouette of every military plane on the planet. And that people like Mick West are trying to say that they didn't know what they were looking at, and it could be a drug smuggling plane 100 years.
You can't believe them because potentially they've gotten a lot of money from the government. But we have to look at the people who are in the government and Congress, and the top people who are in the House of Representatives just got their biggest funding ever from the backer of the Nord Stream 2, the Russian pipeline. It doesn't really matter if you're the government working with a contractor or if you're in the government. You're dealing with a lot of influence from outside companies, and this is. I would say, would you consider the industrial complex to be all the military contractors, Greg?
No, I just consider them contractors. No, I think it goes deeper than that. Yeah.
Well, the industrial complex is corporate, if you want to call it. If
By
you have
definition.
the deep state is the Pentagon.
So like programs like DARPA, I think it's more of programs, like DARPA and everything is more would be considered.
Yeah. What do you think, Rob?
I agree with you both. I think it depends on the context that you're using it, because technically the military industrial complex are the civilian contractors that manufacture for the government and military hardware and software. Anything above, obviously.
Dang, and this is just like The Voice. I've got Tim on one side saying yeah. I've got Greg on the other side saying no. And I've got Rob in the middle saying, well, it could be one way or the other. What a great conversation.
No on what aspect?
And you have me at the back saying,
what's Greg? What are you saying no on, Greg?
Yeah.
I won't say no on anything.
Yeah. So let's move on a little bit here. Interesting actions were observed. Now they get into the observables. In most cases, the sightings that they talked about could be considered relevant variables, but the report states that 18 incidents described in 21 reports observed reported unusual UAP movement patterns or flight characteristics, those 5 things we always look at. Some UAP appear to remain stationary in winds aloft, moved against the wind, maneuvered abruptly, or moved at considerable speed without any discernible means of propulsion. In a small number of cases, military aircraft systems processed radio frequency energy associated with UAP sightings. So there's an interesting piece. Now they're talking about the energy and everything else. Greg?
Does that make me Whoopi?
No.
I want to be Whoopi.
This leads into the 6th observable then of the physiological effects that are quantifiable because of the close proximity that some have.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is they said because of what they saw, they're not behaving in ways that are consistent with current aerospace engineering limitations. Again, coming from aerospace engineering,
a little bit above,
they're locking it down.
Jacques Vallée always states that every culture and they've always been whatever these are when they inject themselves into our consciousness. It's just a little bit further beyond what we are capable of doing ourselves, but still believable to where it's just not completely so fantastic that they dismiss it.
Exactly.
But
again,
it's often relate to them.
Yeah, it's often described as magic, right?
Yeah.
Close to magic, but they don't make it so far out there that it's completely. They can still relate to it. It's like we're saying now, like Blue had said, that we understand the physics now of how they're doing it. We just can't replicate it. But they understand it, whereas before we couldn't understand how they were doing this and thought that they were violating the laws of physics. That would be what we would consider pure magic, is violating the laws of physics. Like when you look into the esoteric of what a god would truly be, it would be something that injects itself into our environment that is outside of the laws of physics.
Is it violating, or is it just adding or subtracting it?
It goes against established if we have some laws of physics we have determined are fundamental and established, and if it's violating those principles that especially the ones that we know pretty concretely how they manifest, if it's breaking those, then we can look at it as something that's injecting itself outside of this universe of laws of physics that we're in.
Absolutely. Great conversation. With that little time, we're going to take a little break for our sponsor. No, it's not a sponsor, but we're going to take it out for Spaced Out Radio. Nice. We got Dave tonight, who's saying he needs some chips. We all love chips. We could never have enough of that. Nothing like a good 70s funk of music. Okay, Google, stop. Yeah. That's my reminder. It's time for me to pull out the drugs and take them. This drug break is brought to you by Spaced Out Radio. Literally spaced out. Oh, wow, man. Yes, it's going to be. But, when the show's over tonight at 9 o'clock, be sure to go ahead and check out Dave and Spaced Out Radio. He's had some phenomenal topics. Heck, he's been doing this for 7 years. May not be 17, but he's been doing it seriously and really making a difference everywhere. Dave, I want to thank you so much for the super chat. And tonight, I will actually be on Spaced Out Radio. I'll be doing the UFO report for John Hudson tonight because he needs a day off. It's his birthday. I only get these once a year. So, check me a little. I'll be there a little bit after 11:30, going up to midnight and beyond. So, yeah.
To midnight and beyond.
Yes.
Good
and
time.
beyond.
See you there, man.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
absolutely. I'm enjoying this Pentagona. Yum, yum, yum. Yes. So, getting back into this conversation about where we're at now. The next part they're getting into is social stigma, which is an important piece. They're hitting all the important buttons getting into here. Looking at this again, this takes a lot of the stuff that they've heard, people may have not listened to, may have not had weight to, but now we've got it coming from a big military contractor, which brings more precedence to where we're at. This is the kind of stuff we need to get people's attention, things of notoriety, corporations, people, individuals, to go ahead and really bring this out. So what are the social stigmas they talk about? They're saying that there's a section of the report that addresses the impact of social stigma around observing, reporting, and discussing UAP sightings, which is great at this point. We've got Northop Grumman talking about it, which have kept the total sighting numbers artificially low. Now, the number actually comes from statistical analysis coming from Cheryl Costa, one of the top UFO statisticians in the United States. She says about 85% of all sightings aren't reported. It's important that we get the word out, we get people excited about it, and give them an easy way to go ahead and say, hey, I saw this. Now, while more experts are now willing to engage with the subject seriously, the report notes that reputational risk may keep observers silent, complicating scientific pursuit of the topic. Well, you get someone like Northop Grumman, again, military contractor, openly discussing it. Now that opens the door for everyone within their company, within their reach of their corporation, and all the subcontractors who are dealing with them, to bring it out and start talking about it and collaborating on it. And that's what we need. That's why this thing, again, is so important.
Yeah, and that they are talking about this in their think tanks.
Yeah.
I guarantee it, everyone on that list has their brains thinking on this and thinking how they could develop some tech to intercept, analyze, engage. We don't know. But
Connect with,
it's
discuss with. Yeah.
Sure. But you know what? My understanding is that they're trying to develop tech that can be piloted. That's from everything I've seen,
Not
and
necessarily.
so if you're talking drones.
They know that the progression is going to be drones.
No,
in the
but this
future.
is opening up to the full defense industry, from people handling communications to people doing observations with radar and imaging to craft, and you name it.
But this article expresses just that fact. And so
this falls in line with what Ted Rose said about the AIAA conference as well, that this opened the door for a lot of intellectuals and the airline industry and everybody involved in the peripherals to be able to have a discussion about this and not be subjected to the stigma and alienation that comes with it.
Right.
That they would be with the fundamentals that they brought of evidence in those meetings with the AIAA. It established that these are most certainly real and that they can talk about them without fear, so much fear of retribution now. Because he did say about 1 in 10 were reported in civilian and military because of all the stigma attached.
And you're saying that data came from Ted Rowe about how many people report to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
From NARCAP.
That's interesting. That is really interesting. So that means that there's 10 times the cases, but we only a tenth of them get reported.
Exactly.
Okay. that is intense. Just to wrap your head around.
85% go unreported, so it's about 15%.
And you're saying it's this social factor that we are
It's
trying
the
to
career
erase
factor
so that we
too.
can bring up the number of cases that we have in our data file.
You said the
Yeah, I love
military
it.
is 1 in 10 because of the retribution effects and the stigma.
Yeah.
That when Fravor landed his plane on the Nimitz after that encounter, he had all of his coworkers and stuff out there wearing tinfoil hats and harassing him for it.
Yeah, and they were playing
telling him that
ET.
he didn't, they were basically saying that he didn't see what he saw up there. And these are pilots that were trained just like him, but I think they are rejecting. They fear what they don't understand, and the degree a person doesn't understand something, the more fear you're going to generate. So I think that him being up there and identifying this target and the 5 observables that it exhibited, I think that put a lot of fear into the crews of these the pilots, the Navy, everybody that was involved in that battle group. I think it sent a shockwave through them.
And it
The
probably
reality of
created
it.
a lot more work for a lot of people too. And so, you know what? If it means that you have to do extra work because of this, you might give that dude a ribbing, and it could be as simple as that and being, but it's when that builds on somebody that about something like this, it's different, and perhaps some of the ribbing he was taking was simply because it was that sighting created more work for people, and it probably
I
held
think it was
things
more
up.
the fear factor.
I agree
Because
with the
they
fear
were
factor
because he was a reputable pilot, a leader among pilots, in his
Right.
battle group and things. For him to identify it, then they knew it was highly credible. And I think that frankly scared the shit out of him.
Yeah, and I recently saw an interview with another witness. His first name is Omar, and he was on the Nimitz as well. And he said that he turned, and another crew member that had witnessed the same thing as him, which was the light shooting down from the sky, doing a zigzag right in front of them, and then zipping off, doing a hold, and then bang back up into space. Like, they witnessed that. He turned, and another crew member was down on his knees praying.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a
exactly
very
what I'm talking
interesting.
about.
Yeah, and so I think that's a very interesting response. But for somebody that has that initial response, he may never want to talk about that. And so for somebody that comes out,
Alex Dietrich, that's
Right.
why she waited until after she retired from the military to even speak of it. That she, for years she was anonymous doing it before she came out and allowed her identity to be known because of all the retribution and the harassment. I mean, especially when you're a female pilot, you're already under the gun of competing with other pilots. And when you come out and make if you're going to advance that you saw a craft, what's that going to do to your career in the Navy as a Navy pilot, especially being a female?
And not to mention the possibility that the military itself may have retribution on you talking about it, because you just don't know. Like, even if she came out after her NDA was over, she doesn't know if somebody mysterious is going to come into her life later and just be like, because she's military. And so it's like she has a permanent umbilical with the government the rest of her life, the same way you did.
It's a given the government are going to put pressure on them to suppress this information, and that the degree that they try and come out
and control the information,
they're going to get pushed back
and control the information, I would assume. And so to what extent is that narrative controlled, by people that are in fear of their livelihood?
Well, we've seen that for the past 75 years, and it's not just fear of their livelihood. We've talked about this many times. The military industrial complex, those that were investigating this for 75 years and keeping it covert and stopped reporting to their superiors, I think they were trying to covet the technology and at some point hoping that they could reverse engineer it and exploit it. And I dare not contemplate the depth of depravity that they might go to, because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's a damn good thing that Lou was not afraid to sacrifice his career, because so many people before him in the military were tasked with this, and they didn't want to jeopardize their career because they knew that this would be a career ender. That's why no one had done it before him. He was the only one brave enough when he got with Mellon and said, look, I don't have any options here unless I violate my NDA or in my oath of enlistment. And he did not have the character to break that. And how can I advance this without, sacrificing my integrity And the only plan that Mellon and he could come up with was his letter of resignation to get it on Mattis's desk. That's the only way that they could do it without him breaking ranks in his oath of enlistment.
And does Elizondo still hold the same credentials in the government that he had before?
His top security clearance, he maintains. They tried to take it.
But I mean, does he have his clearance level still?
Yes, but they tried to take it from him, but he's successfully stopped that.
Why does he want?
But that's
to
why he had to
maintain
hire
that?
Danny Sheehan.
Do you know why he's tried to maintain it?
What's that?
Do you know why he's tried to maintain that
Well,
clearance
because
level?
you have to have a security clearance to interface with defense contractors, the government, anybody that is read into any project of reverse engineering materials or anything of that nature. You have to have a clearance to be able to have those conversations with people. And he does a lot of consulting.
Yeah.
So to consult, you have to be read in to the current environment of materials that's out there in the intelligence community. You have to be able to be
Sorry, yeah, we're having some fun. No, Julian, not a little tipsy. I'm kind of tipsy, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and bring everybody back. I'm still talking back to the crew in the chat. Let's go ahead and do that right now as they're coming up, and I've gotta go. Greg, Rob, Tim, Tom, and Gary. All right, now why are they not there?
I see my name.
They're not there.
Play us in, Gary.
Well, we'll get to that back in a second. Either way, we're back right now. We'll get the rest of the crew showing up. It's a great conversation to say the least. My God, what the hell did I do?
What did you do?
Great going, Thomas. Friday, I should say. Well, could be worse.
You could always be worse.
There we go.
Cocktailing and streaming do not mix.
I lost the chat. I lost everything. My God, what happens? You've even got an echo going in the background. I'll take care of it in a minute. Yes, we've got the music going. We can hear you guys. We've got Gary happening. We still have 36 people go watching. Thank God. 39. We can hear you guys. We've got Gary.
Watching you play.
Where is that other window that's there? We're almost there. Almost got the crew back up again. I gotta bring back one at a time now. All right, let's go ahead. Let's bring in Greg first.
Feedback.
Or Greg, it's actually Rob has to go in that spot, then Tim has to go there, and Greg has to go there. So if I go to guest one, Rob, where are you? Are you still there, Rob?
In space. Yeah, I'm
All
here.
right, so let's get a close-up of guest one. You're going to be on this monitor. This one
We can't
here.
see you.
Oh, transform, reset, transform. Where are you at?
Oh, that is
Yes, we're hidden.
happening.
Wrong window. Go to guest two. Guest two is not there either. Guest one. Where is that? There's Rob. Yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love the situation. You gotta love the conversation. So Rob and Tim, you were having one heck of a conversation regarding Northrop and Raytheon.
And security clearances. He was asking me why Lou, if he still has security clearance, and why he would need that. And I'm echoing.
We'll stop in a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, he needs a security clearance to interface with all the consulting that he does with our government and military.
I mean,
and
it makes sense.
even the private defense contractors.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this article, even itself, it kind of seems like that discussion has been had.
Well,
You know?
I also find it curious with this article that they're not even asking at this point if aliens exist. They're asking, if there's going to be imminent alien invasion. Don't you find that curious now? A year ago, they would have been asking, well, they wouldn't even been asking it. They just have put an op-ed out with a tinfoil hat and saying, these people are, need locked up because there's nothing to see here. Aliens don't exist.
Right. No, this was posed as a serious question, even though their immediate answer was no. I think that they go through the article and then kind of explain why it's a maybe, like I kind of said at the top of the show. And I feel also that there are a few points here that are kind of underlined, if anything. The fact that the social stigma is slowly being erased, the fact that the data that we've retrieved is irrefutable, and the pilots and the witnesses have data and stories that are irrefutable. There's no reason to doubt them. And then it also goes on to underscore the need for more research and more data so that we can analyze what's truly going on. And I think that is definitely somebody that's on the precipice to say, and here's what we have, on offer to intercept and research, identify.
They've allowed the platform since 2018 with the congressional security. I'm trying to think of who the congressman's name is, but anyway, they tasked them with the UAP task force. Once they gave the initial briefing, and this wasn't the one in June, this is the prior one to that propagated the one for June,
right?
That they needed to find out. It resulted in opening it up to where the Navy had a better reporting plan for their pilots and stuff, where they could come forward with the information, and that's what generated the 144 cases that the UAP task force investigated for the report to give to Congress. They were allowed to finally have a avenue and a vehicle to advance their sightings without fear of retribution. But that's in the Navy. The Air Force they have made the token gesture because Congress ordered them to establish a way for the pilots to report without retribution. But they also mandated that you can't repeat anything to outside of the chain of command, or you're going to be court-martialed. So they've I think made a token gesture with the Air Force to allow pilots to report, but they've also put a gag order on them. If you speak to anybody outside your chain of command about this, your career is done. So they are still looking.
Well, you know what? That's funny because I put that question in front of the witness that I mentioned earlier from the Nimitz encounter, and he had responded that he not only there was no gag order or even a mention of it, but he was never asked to give his account in front of any counsel, or he never debriefed. He was never debriefed. Like it was up to that story was just with him. Nobody came to him for that information. It was up. He decided to come out with his sighting, but there was another guy on the deck. He was praying. Where's that guy? It's like there were obviously hundreds of people that witnessed this, right? Yeah. And only 2 for a couple, right, that were even willing to come out. And then, I'm sure that we only heard the stories of 2.
A dozen now with the radar operator,
initially,
Dietrich,
right?
And the next pilot that went up, and the pilot in the AWAC or whatever it was, the radar plane that was seen. Greg, you remember what that?
Yeah, the AWAC. Yeah,
but he was never officially debriefed, and he was never asked to speak in front of Congress.
Is it because there was no data along with it? Do you think the people that they think with his story, was there any data? I think that they were just interested in just stuff Perhaps. They can actually hold and stuff instead of just waiting for his testimony.
They've got a lot of even satellite footage now of the Nimitz that they know they've got. But they did bring him in when Lou was talking about him giving reports to Congress and senators and things like that. He did bring the pilots with him, and they have been found out to have been Fravor and Dietrich, and included
the ones with data,
group.
Right?
Yeah,
the ones with data. That's what I'm saying. The people who don't have data, those are the ones they really don't seem to be interested in.
Encounters that didn't have data.
No,
yeah, definitely. They had data.
Right.
And it was firsthand because they weren't repeating what somebody else had told them. It was directly, from the source.
Right.
So
maybe that's why, Tim. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, but at the same rate, all we would need to corroborate him would be that radar operator, right? Yeah. Because they had these things on their radar.
Yeah. So maybe they did it. Maybe they did get to the radar operator. Instead of the guy out there, because less
talking
is more
about
kind
that
of deal.
If we can get back to the article for a second.
I'm not sure. That's just my thoughts.
And keeping him quiet.
True.
Because I'm asking a question because I don't understand.
What
thing?
What's the question?
Where are you saying that they got to him as in trying to keep people quiet that were witnesses to that encounter?
No, Tim was just saying. Tim just was putting out there that they never really approached anybody to debrief anybody. I said because some of the people, maybe they didn't debrief them because they didn't have any physical data with them. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. At the time, all the data
talking
was
about data, right?
up and,
really quick, if I could try and dovetail us
various
back to the
ways.
original conversation.
Were the witnesses
Rob.
told to silence?
To what?
Were
I
the
don't think
witnesses
so.
silenced?
I don't
Like,
know. Is
with
it
the deck
silent?
hands
I think the audience can hear my voice. I don't just think you guys can.
At the time.
I mean, is that just kind of like a
No, hey,
going
Tim,
thing that
really quick, if I could.
on a
Oh
military
God, let's just go ahead and
vessel,
take them and
anything that happens
I'm gonna
on
meet
that
you guys
vessel,
next.
you don't talk about. Is that
Pretty
is that
much
kind
you
of
have
a
to have
going
operational
thing?
security.
Wow,
Right.
they can
It's
hear
like they
me,
said in
but
the
it's
World
like
War
I
II,
don't
loose lips
exist.
sink ships.
Hey Gary, can you hear
You
me?
can't get lax about talking about things that you don't understand. Well, anything basically, whether you understand it or not, because they have reasons for security, and like like what Thomas was saying earlier, the sources and methods you can't reveal. So they, if one person says something that seems a little ambiguous in the details and innocuous, but you have about 10
I don't
to 15
think
people,
the people in the
each give a
panel
piece
can
of what
hear
they
me, although
observed.
my mic is going off.
You could take those
I swear they
testimonies,
can't hear me.
and our adversaries could piece together our technology from that but not one singular testimony, but the summation of the whole. You may be able to get a better grasp of, say, how the gun cameras, their actual distance of the range, because for many years it wasn't released because they didn't want our adversaries to know the quality of our gun cameras on the airplane.
Yeah.
So for 15 years they didn't release those videos because of that fact.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I wasn't on the screen, so I was been trying to say something. The people in the audience can hear me talking to you guys, but it's like you keep on talking and you don't hear to a degree. But you were saying about the sensors and everything like that, and the whole bit, and bringing back into it, dovetailing us back to, if you want to call it, circling back to the initial conversation about the article coming from Northrop. They get back into talking about data clustering is common, where they're talking about, they even delve into Area 51, where such sites as far as Area 51 have been suggested as secret alien investigation facilities. But as recent as NextGov articles notes, the report data makes it clear that UFO sightings tend to cluster around military installations. This makes sense, as these bases are often equipped with advanced defensive defensive and sensor technology that makes them far more likely to detect potential visitors, kind of making the statement that they're around all over the place, but only the places where they have the sensors are actually seeing them. Now, it's also worth noting that the declassified report is only part of a larger whole. According to the NextGov piece, it's important to note that the unclassified version of the task force report is only a few preliminary pages. The videos, the photos, and data, which I and my colleagues in the Pentagon were privy to, were not included. So we've got to check out that NextGov article, because it sounds like something that's going to be there. But hey, they're bringing Area 51 into this. Hello, Bob Lazar. Hey, they've got stuff going on there. It almost even sounds like now you've got Northrop going and bringing it in.
Yeah,
because they didn't with the gimbal and those, they weren't observed until 2015 on the East Coast when they rolled out the new radar systems. They originally thought it was a software glitch, so the pilots weren't getting excited, and the radar operators at first, until they established that this was not a software error with the new equipment. And like you're saying, these radars aren't on our land-based bases and things for the most part, but like you just said, Area 51 and those would be equipped with the advanced radar, and they would be able to see these new craft that weren't previously visible on earlier gen of radar capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it makes sense to protect your nuclear assets that are, in the silos and all that with the best equipment you've got. But NORAD also has the most advanced radar sensing, but they only look at over the horizon for bombers and ICBMs at this point. But Lucid, they could write the software to discern and sort out and throw it into another bin that would interrupt that for other intelligence assets to review from there.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Now, getting towards the end of the article, they start, they close it up by saying making sense of UFO sightings. Now, the fact that that the report didn't provide definitive answers regarding certain UFO sightings hasn't stopped the rampant speculation, which has mostly involved reading between the lines or making incredibly broad assumptions or broad speculation or broad, going ahead and saying all of it's not real. For some reason, the revelation that the U.S. defense programs didn't have a standardized detection capabilities until 2019 suggests a deliberate suppression of data designed to keep the public in the dark. The public in the dark, right there. Although others, such as controversial academics like Avi Loeb, and he is controversial. You have to look at a lot of his works, what he's said over a lot of times. He said some really big things, and I'm glad we've talked about the elephant in the room for once. Have claimed that the report's findings support the notion that aliens have visited Earth. Loeb argues that the report lends credence to the theory that Mama, the cigar-shaped asteroid that passed through the solar system in 2018, was actually an alien craft. A pretty big one, too, despite the fact that no evidence was found to support this conclusion. At least they're talking about it, that there's some controversy, there's some stuff there, and there's some players out there who've made a lot of claims about stuff in the past. But at least what Avi Loeb is trying to do now, he's trying to get past the speculation and bring out science fact. Tim?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Avi's work, and I mean, it definitely goes to say, that there's a change in temperature. I think when it comes to this science, we're getting more people on board that are going to lend some credence to the data, and the fact that he's coming from Harvard, I think helps, because you can't remain a professor at a university if you're not relevant. And I know that a lot of the professors at most universities have to be doing something. You have to be working all the time. And so this is as good a project for somebody to take on as anything. And the fact that he's probably going to break some new ground here and be another data point, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
The one thing that Avi's got, one of the things that Avi has going for him from the Momoa book that he wrote, I'm finding out more and more that they suppressed the data that was derived from observing it as it went around the sun and passed out back out of our solar system, that it was giving off signatures that it was a metallic surface and things of that nature, and the shape of it that lended to it not the chances of it either being a metallic and it had the color of it was not natural either, but it gave off a metallic signature, and it changed course about 20 degrees on its way back out. That wasn't natural. And they have been suppressing the information about it since it passed through, but it's been trickling out into the news feeds of the information that they gathered about it, and it changing trajectory that seemed more like a course correction than a natural occurrence. When they crunched the numbers on it, they said it wasn't a natural declination that it took once it came out from rotating around the sun. So he was definitely onto something then when he recognized it, and the rest of them stuck their heads in the ground trying to be quiet because they didn't want to lose their careers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he did like Lou did. He was willing to step out there because he saw something extraordinary.
Absolutely. So in close, and the release of the report and serious consideration of possible extraterrestrial interaction, love that, extraterrestrial interaction, are significant steps forward for the government and contractors like Northrop Grumman, my God, which has historically been silent on the topic. Yes, they have been. From the establishment of standardized sensor networks to the acknowledgement that there are some things that people have seen that simply can't be explained, the report, it sets a stage for a scientific rather than speculative framework to help humankind discover humans are not really alone out there, or if the cosmic neighbors are closer than most people realize. As the UAP report said, quote, explaining UAP will require analytic and collection and resource investment. Damn.
I wonder what the collection part means.
Yeah, well, interested in all things related to outer space and exploration? We are too. Take a look at the open positions at Northrop Grumman and consider joining our team. What a freaking way to go ahead and say, hey, UFO people, we're cool on this shit and we get it. Come work with us. Look at all the job openings we have.
Yeah.
That was a hidden gem I didn't even realize was at the end of it. This is a freaking, hey, come work with us. We want to check all this stuff out. We believe we get it.
And it's
so this was an official position of the company, not just a employee given an op-ed that wasn't officially sanctioned by the company.
This is now northropgrumman.com. Which
so they are supporting it from the company.
Here, let me get back to the video room.
By an employee.
There we go. So what are they talking about? Oh, wait, yeah, there we go. Here we go. Exploring UAPs report, is alien invasion imminent? Deep sea creatures may light the way for new technologies. How fossil skulls solved mystery dinosaur evolution. So they're talking about, the different things. Oh, they did the Mars helicopter, a bunch of other stuff. So they're talking about science and other stuff. It's just
bioluminescence.
Yeah. Someone wants to see some job roles. Let's do it. All right. This came in from Susan Goes. Time traveling Asians. Wouldn't it be crazy if they were? That'd be wonderful. All right, so let's get back to their site.
You heard it first.
UAP's report.
Asians.
Yes, not aliens. Time traveling Asians. Defining your possible career. It's only possible until you do it at all at Northrop Grumman. Search jobs, students and entry level, experienced professionals, or military veterans. Which one shall we pick, guys?
Military veterans.
I want to go experienced professionals.
Don't ask.
Exactly.
Hey, they have development centers, balanced life. B needs to run some more, just saying. Northrop Grumman in the community. They're woke now. Life at Northrop Grumman.
Oh, woke. There's that 4-letter word again.
Well, jobs in the United States? Yeah. Featured U.S. jobs. And avionics engineering, FPGA, they're making chips for space and satellite systems. Cyber protection, cyber software, principal cyber software engineer, battery test worker, electrical engineer, electrical hardware ground support. Nothing really cool in here. Another FPGA manager developing chips, manufacturing operations, electrical engineering. Sounds kind of boring. Let's go to current jobs in... Let's get out of the... Let's go to military veterans.
Mule Skinner wrote that they said that the Galileo project is just a dream until they make policies to observe downward at the Earth's atmosphere. Most of these signatures they're picking up aren't visual. So, and yeah, they're going to be using telescopes and things, but their equipment that picks up the RF frequencies and things of that nature, I would say radio waves, but it's
look at this. You search UFO. You search UFO and you actually find things.
Yeah.
You got statement, what the fuck planner, or WFF, I'm sorry, and scenario designer. What is he doing? That sounds cool. It's in Kansas, though. Mission Command Training Program, Army Corps, the brigades and area missions, general team responsibilities, conduct mission analysis, integrate training audience, review training audience, coordinate, warfare stuff. Yeah, well, that is military. So there are some things for UFOs, not sure exactly what, but interesting to say the least, to see they're involved with this, and it's great to have, again, someone like Northrop Grumman actually on board and thinking about the phenomena in this kind of a way. You know, Ted Rose said that the UAP report would open doors for the aerospace industry, and clearly it's also opening doors for
defense contractors.
Defense contractors, absolutely. Oh, son of a bitch. Well, we have a request. We need an entire show dedicated to defense and aerospace companies. Not enough light is really shed on the roles they play with UFOs. Did you read up on William Tompkins yet? I think I might have. I read something on William Tompkins. Gary, have you checked out William Tompkins yet?
Not yet.
Noted for us. We will.
Doing it now. Making it
Yeah. Absolutely. Good suggestion, Baba 200. Something we will look into, to say the least. It's been a freaking great show, guys. Hitting a conversation that who would think that a simple little article from a defense contractor could be so important to what we talk about and what we work towards all the time. It's an opening. It's the opening of doors, the opening of conversation, the ability for all of us, whether those on the stream or us on the channel, actually going on and being able to take this conversation where it needs to go. And you heard it here first.
Yeah, and you know what? I just wanted to sum up one more thing really quick. You got to know, like, guys like Bigelow and other aerospace tech and engineers, they're interested in science fiction. They're interested in cutting edge real science that these are the guys that are doing it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a great place to look for UFO tech.
Yeah. Well, I do have to bring this up really quick. It's something you'll see on the next episode of Late Night Update. Austin Kovacs said, "Did you see that the Chinese rover is going to inspect a cube-shaped object on the dark side of the moon? Unlike the rovers from NASA, they see anything that looks freaking cool and they can't explain. They ignore it completely and just keep on going and act like, no, we don't see that over there. We don't see that shit over there. We're just going to keep on going and act like none of that stuff is important." Chinese on the dark side of the moon, they see something that looks like a cube. They take their sights, they set on it, and they go for it. What the heck is wrong with NASA?
To compete better.
So the moon really is made out of cheese?
Yeah, if you could turn back time.
If I could turn back time.
About the germs that hurt you, and I'd spray.
Yes, it's...
Here you go, I'll do it with the background. If I could find a way.
That hurt you, and I'd spray. I don't know why I touched the things I did.
It's not even Cher. It's someone else who's doing a parody singing like Cher when the background's going. And it's actually, she's got you've heard the lyrics. It's hilarious. But yes, we got to have fun with it. Everyone's saying, no, we're going to crash again. No, I'm not touching the application that deals with the volume, so we're going to crash again. But on that note, Gary, you want to kick up the music for us?
No. Okay, I'll do it now. Hang on. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been one heck of a crazy show. Who would have thought that article coming out from a stuffy defense contractor talking about UFOs, talking about the phenomena, talking about the UFO report that we've all been talking about since June 26 could mean something so much. But coming from, someone who always sees things on a big picture, I think we hit something transformative here. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the news.
Yeah. Absolutely. How about you, Tim?
I was really excited to see this article, and we are definitely going to have to keep our ears open for more from our defense contractors.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, Rob, what was your opinion on this whole piece that we dealt with?
I think this is going to open the doors so that they're trying to get out in front and advertise that they're open for business, that they're on board with acknowledging that the phenomena is a real thing that isn't human, and they want to be a part of it. I think that's what you're seeing. So there's going to be a competition in the in the media outlets by, I think we're seeing the start of a trend that's going to happen, essentially a bidding war.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just going to be a bidding war for the jobs. It's a bidding war for the people who are actually doing the work. And that's why you've got pieces like this with little, I'm sure there's a way to find the jobs that they have related to this, but, to have that link at the bottom saying, hey, come work for us, it kind of sets open the door to basically show them as someone who's a military contractor who's willing to accept where we're at and know that that's where they want to be going for the future, which is, for me, it just gives you this electric feeling that is the right direction we need to be seeing, not from the president who has nothing to say about it.
I'm encouraged to see this direction that they're taking.
Yeah.
With getting it out into the public and they're not having this conversation in private with a lobbying Congress. This is in a public newspaper for all the public to see. That's the beauty of this. And that's complete paradigm change for the defense contractors. I've never seen them do this before.
Exactly. Great steps forward. We've got a great show tomorrow, a recap on all the great things that happened this week. Additional words coming from the senator Tim Burchett, actually the House Representative Tim Burchett, got tracked down by TMZ and a bunch of other stuff. Lou Elizondo is actually out there making statements with Chris Mellon. After this, we also got word coming in from Avi Lowe, believe it or not. He's actually got things to say about it. So if you had a fun time tonight, there's still a bunch of you hanging out. I appreciate you guys hanging out here with tonight. We can find a way. If you can turn back time, we can turn back time.
To find a way.
We need to go back and change the way what it's been with Disclosure. And if we could change it back then, imagine where we'll be at today. But still, it wouldn't make us today as exciting as it really is. And you can just see, for me, it just freaking lights me up like you wouldn't believe, because it's happening. Disclosure is coming. The information is flowing. More people are opening their doors versus saying, you know what? This is just a bunch of kooks wearing tinfoil hats. But I am going to wear this one with pride because that's what it's about. We're here about the fact. We're here about science fact, not science fiction. On that note, I want to thank A.O. Xander, Austin Kovacs, Baba 200, Enzo, Cyril, Horsey came in at the end minute, Ingrid Cole, Joby Jobu, Mr. Gray Owl, the Pontificator Pontifications. Hey, I missed you today. Where were you at earlier on? Rob Heatherly, Robin Hood 96 is in the back, as well as Greg O'Brien and Anonymous Rex, of course, Tim Senor. We've also got X1 is here. Keep on trucking, my friend. Drive safely. YJ Overlander Canada. Earlier on, we had Linda Thompson, Julie Welch O'Farrell, Baba 200, of course, and everybody else. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. And Gary, why don't you tell us about our sponsors? Not our sponsors, our benefactors.
Our generous donators this evening was Susan Goes Time Traveling Asians ×3, Spaced Out Radio, Baba 200, and somebody awesome called
Thank you, Gary, very much. We greatly appreciate it. I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. It's been one heck of a show. I'll turn off the black and white for tonight, but I figured what the heck was going on. My face was turning nice and red tonight, so I figured what's a great way to get rid of red? Let's just go retro. Thank you, everybody, and hope to see you all later on Spaced Out Radio. I'll be in the chat for a bit, and I will also be on about 11:35 or so for the Spaced Out Radio Weekly UFO Report. Take care, everybody. As we usually say, eyes open, no fear, and we will catch you on the flip side. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.